Chris here, Wood Studio, and it's been a few weeks since I've done an update, but here we are in the shop doing an update. So here we go. I finished the cabinet. So I said it's a gift for some friends of ours, and it's a wedding gift, and I think it came out really well. The body of the cabinet, like I said in the last update, is all walnut. The door panel, I decided to use Wenge. Went to the lumber yard and I found a great piece of Wenge. It had a really nice cathedral pattern right here. And it looks really great. I'll show you some close-ups in a second. As I said before, the construction's all sliding dovetails for the top, the bottom, and the shelf. You'll see that in a minute. The top here is some crown molding, very similar to the tool cabinets here in the shop that I built. However, the molding itself has been shrunken a little bit to match the proportions of this cabinet. And instead of turning a handle, which I actually did, I didn't like what I had turned, I thought about turning another one. I took a little look at, of all places, Anthropologie. And at Anthropologie, they have a whole bunch of knobs and handles and stuff. And long story short, the girlfriend told me to take a look, and I found this leather pull strap, and I really dug it. I thought it was really great, and it had the right colors and tones for the cabinet. So let me walk you through the cabinet. So let me walk you through the case itself. As I said before, the case is all walnut. As far as, well, not all walnut, but most of it's walnut. The sides, the bottom, the top, crown molding, the door frame, the frame of the door is all walnut. The raised panel is Wenge. I found a beautiful piece at the lumber yard, and the Wenge looks like this, raw. And here it is finished. I think it came out really well, and I'll talk to you about the finish in a second. So the profile for the crown molding here is very similar to the profile on my cabinets, and that came from an article in Fine Woodworking, and I just shrunk down the overall size of the profile and the pieces to work proportionally with the cabinet. So once you open the door itself, you'll find that there's enough room for two, maybe if you squeeze it, 3 bottles of Scotch. You can use wine instead if you wanted. And if you do that, the glasses here are, the shelf space between the top is tall enough to get 2 wine glasses here as well. Or, as I put, 2 Scotch glasses. The shelf does not move, it stays. It is dovetailed in, just like the top and the bottom, and not traditional dovetails, but as I said earlier, sliding dovetails. The shiplap back is maple, and it's both from the same board, so the board was ripped in half, and then I shiplapped it and added this little bead down the side of it. And I think it looks really good, the grains coming into each other, and I really dig it. The hinges are an antique brass. I wanted to give the piece a little bit of an antique look if possible, so I went with an antique brass there, older look. Something that'd be proper for holding a really old bottle of Scotch. The door has a little washer here with a screw, and that makes contact with a piece here that has a magnet set into it, and that stops the door at the right spot and pulls it in and holds it in where it needs to be. Let's flip this guy around. So if we take a look at the cabinet here, you'll see the back, and I have 2 screws on each side, up and middle in the shelf, or not middle, but in the shelf, and then on the lower part of the cabinet as well, the bottom of the cabinet. And I just got those guys screwed in, and since this will expand and contract in this direction, I'm not worried about them moving at all, or that the wood will split or anything like that, because the shiplap back here has got room to expand and contract, as well as into the groove that runs around the cabinet as well. The back is a little less finished than the front. I raised the back to get it in, and I'm okay with that. I think it looks good overall, but I like that it's a little bit rough. There's still machine marks, not machine marks, but hand tool marks. And you'll see up here, there's room on top of the cabinet. That's because the sliding dovetail construction, you need to leave room for strength for these dovetails. What I mean by that is there needs to be space above and below the sliding dovetail for any strength to come out of this joint. We can't have it all the way up on top. It'll just break out from the top. So that's why there's room on the top here, and there actually is on the bottom as well. The crown molding goes all the way around, and I've added these glue blocks just to provide some additional support for the crown molding. Right here, you'll see that there's a piece of walnut, and that's one half of a French cleat. Let me grab the other half. And here's the other half of the French cleat. It's a little bit smaller, and it's going to give them room to mount it and then position the cabinet a little bit from side to side. I've pre-drilled one hole in the center, but I haven't drilled, not all the way through, so enough that it's inset. You get the screw inset, and they'll drill through for whatever the screw is, put that into a stud on the wall, and this thing's not going to go anywhere. So yeah, that will go here. And it probably looks good for a French cleat that you're never going to see, but I liked it a lot. Let me talk to you about the finish real quick. So I had a lot of fun with the finish here. It's a real simple finish, but it comes out really well. So I did 5 coats of shellac on the cabinet and the door, and I built up that shellac, a couple of really thin 1-pound coats, then some 2-pound coats, and then back to a 1-pound coat at the end, sanding between each coat. Well, that's not true. The first 2 1-pound coats I did not sand through. Once I finished the second one, then I lightly sanded with some 220 grit, and then after that I kept moving up in the grits until my final grit was 600 grit. And that was for all the pieces, including the door. And once I went up through 600 grit, I then came in, and the walnut looks fantastic, by the way, and so did the wenge, but I want to take it one more step, and that one extra step was brie wax. Let me show you that. So this is brie wax. If you haven't used this before, it's very similar to Liberon's waxes as well. So it's actually not like paste wax where it's hard and you can heat it up and melt it. This stuff is actually it's liquidy, gelatinous. And what you do with this is you take it in and I used a maroon Scotch Brite pad and get this all over the cabinet and then let it flash. It only takes about 5-10 minutes the most. And then you wipe it all out and you buff it. So I use brie wax. This is dark brown. I'm going to give them this can of brie wax with the piece, just so it's a great cleaner as well. So once you've gotten some, not just dust, but after a while it's got some dirt on it and it's caked into all the little nooks and crannies, this is great to come over and then just clean the cabinet with this and then buff it right out again. So not only is it a wax, but it's a tint as well. Let me show you. So here's what it looks like. Right. So it's black. It says dark brown, and when you put it on, you can see that it's a really, really dark brown. And basically what you do is you rub it in and you coat the surface. You don't have to get it like really thick, but you'll see because it becomes liquidy as you are rubbing it in. And the wax will get into all the pores, and then you buff it out once it flashes, and it provides a very beautifully smooth surface to the touch. And the other really nice thing about it too is it tones the entire piece. And other news in the shop, or at least shop related, I've been working on the videos for the trebuchet table that I shot, and I have the first 9 chapters finished. I'm finishing the 10th, and I got 2 more after that, I think. And those will be done. I'm hoping and crossing my fingers by the end of the year, I'll have all that up on my website, mmwoodstudio.com, for purchase and to watch. And I'll put a preview on YouTube as well. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a really great holidays, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much. Bye.